Hello and welcome to ED Insight, where we get you a 360-degree view of the big picture in business and economy. I am Sridhar Ramakrishnan. On the show today, why franchising is emerging as a winning strategy. Why franchising is emerging as a winning strategy for companies. What are the hurdles in the growth of this sector? And a closer look at the networks of those who have made it big. Our top story first. If you're an aspiring entrepreneur with some money but with no reach and access, then franchising may be just what the doctor ordered. India's franchising industry is estimated to be $7.2 billion in size, growing at 30 to 40% annually. Asha Gopalakrishnan tells you which are the sectors driving this growth.
20 years ago, Pratap Agarwal started a computer training institute in Chandigarh with an initial capital of 3 lakh rupees. But Pratap did not start his own company. Instead, he licensed the technical know-how and brand of what was then a small IT training company, NIIT. It was a time when the software sector in India was gathering critical mass, when IT companies were scouting for trained people, and when India's youth had begun adapting to technology. 18 months later, Pratap was rolling in money.
20 years later, it's no longer the franchising relationship. It is maybe the contractually we are franchisees, but in real terms, we're really the partners.
Today, Pratap is just one of NIIT's 3,500 franchise partners worldwide. It is India's premier IT training company, and nearly 60 to 70% of NIIT's annual business of 1,200 crore rupees comes from its massive franchising network.
We feel that franchising actually harmonizes very well with the customers whom we want to serve. Because if we really look at it, the partners whom we pick are actually from the same location, so they understand the customers much better.
NIIT is not alone. Many education and training companies across India have similar growth stories. That's perhaps why education accounts for 27% or the largest chunk of India's franchising business. Professional skill training leads the pack of education services, followed by IT training, enhancement training for children, and animation and media. Currently, there are over 390 education franchisors with 52,200 outlets in the country. Franchisee outlets account for over 95%. The reason why franchise partners like this model is because it mitigates their risks. And companies prefer it because setting up one's own outlet is capital intensive and time consuming.
Today, out of a total pie of 100, 80% is from retail business, 20% is non-retail. In that 80%, close to 95 odd percent is from franchise partners.
You need to really do what you call think global, act local, where the franchisee has to act local.
That explains why franchising has been on the rise these past few years. While the number of franchisors has doubled, the number of franchisees has grown 5-fold since 2005. The industry employs about 9.5 lakh people, of which 87% are permanent employees.
We have more than 1,000 franchising systems operating in the country. By a franchising system, I mean one franchisor and a large number of franchisees of that brand. So we have more than 1,000 systems operating in this country, and nearly 90% of them are homegrown.
Lucknow, Jaipur, Indore, Coimbatore, these kind of the cities are the hottest ones for franchising operations.
A lot of brands, not just established ones, but new brands are also saying they're making business model only for a tier 2 town because people are more aspirational there, they have more saved money there, real estate prices are justified, they're excited about being connected to a brand.
Much of that excitement comes on the back of the explosive growth in retailing, particularly in the apparel segment. Currently, franchising accounts for nearly 50% of all apparel outlets. That adds up to nearly 30,000 outlets. That's because franchisors offer a minimum guarantee clause of up to 25 to 30% to franchisees.
Franchising is a way for different entrepreneurs to get together and leverage the value of various brands, because the brand can at one point of time not reach out with all the resources together simultaneously and put it together. So this is like getting co-entrepreneurs.
We wanted to scale up, and I think franchising is a good opportunity to scale up. Your channel partners increase, and who are also, they are locally based, hence they understand local sensibilities, taste preferences, and they can do a better job.
Franchisees start adding a lot of value for our businesses. For example, we just signed open a store in Nagpur, and that property belonged to the landlord, and if we had not franchised to that individual, we would have not got that property. So he adds a very, unique value.
Franchise sales in India comprise just about 2% of total retail sales, compared to nearly 50% in the US. And that means that the potential is huge.
Our proposition to the franchisee is actually a specialty retail store in the home decor market, where we provide capability to build a store at the international level in terms of the look and feel experience that we can deliver, category and merchandise understanding, brand access, and they bring in knowledge of the market and they run the business profitably.
Next in line is the food and beverages segment, which has a 24% share in India's franchising business. According to an industry research, more than 30% of all new food outlets in the country are franchised, and 17% of all F&B outlets in the organized sector are operated by franchisors. Take for instance the case of Pizza Hut, Coffee Day Express and Baskin Robbins.
In terms of number of stores, we add in close to 60 to 80 stores every year. We added 86 last year. This year we have slowed down slightly. We would do about 60 to 65 stores this year. And in terms of revenue, we're growing at about 35% year on year.
I think Pizza Hut, for example, is entirely franchised, run by some extremely capable franchisees in India. And KFC as well is about 50% our own restaurants and 50% our franchise restaurants. So we see franchisees as being key partners in us being able to scale the ambition of our brands in India.
From tried and tested segments to new ones like health and fitness, beauty and salon, and travel and tourism.
We needed a wider footprint, and we needed a model which would limit our capital expenditure, as well as give us an edge in terms of selling our products locally across the country. And that's why the franchisee model particularly appealed to us.
The basic idea of having a variable front end is that you're able to be present at multiple locations, and you can have various hubs and sub-centers who can typically cater to these locations.
These new segments are expected to be the key drivers for the growth of franchising in India. Experts believe that at the current growth rate, the industry could touch the $20 billion mark over the next 3 years. But that growth cannot happen in isolation. The right business model and better regulations are more important. And that is the weak point of this industry.
So just what's going wrong and why? We'll answer that in just a bit. Stay with us.